Hello and welcome to the WNBL show. Another big episode ahead, and I am rapt to have with me today Mia Murray. Hello, Mia.
Hello.
And joining us as well is Sid Murray. Hey, Sid.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
And the Boomers are doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sid, it's great to have you here. We'll let you continue drawing and we'll keep chatting to Mum. It's great to have you in Melbourne, Mia, where you're playing for the Boomers and playing very well. How are you loving being down south?
Really enjoying it, actually. Brief glimpse of summer over the last couple of days. But no, family and I have settled in quite well. The club have, wrapped their arms around us and, we're straight into it early October and with pre-season and we piece by piece got the group back and, we're doing quite well.
It's been a puzzle, hasn't it? And we'll talk a bit about your move, but I guess you came to Melbourne probably to play a role, but it's been a much bigger role because of the injuries you've had and you've been starting and winding back the clock.
Winding back the clock. So when Chris spoke to me about coming down, he did mention, coming off the bench, he did say get fit. And get ready to shoot. So, I know what every Chris Lucas preseason's like and I know the style that he likes to play and I knew that I would have to get in pretty good shape to do that. I wasn't expecting to play the minutes that I have been playing. Obviously I'm not how do you replace a Tess Madgen? You can't. So I just know that, she brings just massive energy whenever she's on the court. She's such a leader for the group and she'll just be such a welcome piece to have back when she is able to return. Who knows, my role might reduce or whatever, but I think once Tess is back, we'll be in good shape.
Well, you've been in pretty good shape. You've lost just the one game and a huge game coming up this weekend against your former team, Townsville. We've got the gang back together, really, in terms of Townsville championships with Chris, now coaching at Melbourne. He's recruited you and playing alongside your great mate, Kayla George. It must be great to all be back together, the three musketeers.
It is. And it's like, we've never left. I remember exactly what Chris was like and, I have to thank Kayla for getting me down here because I think if I said no, she would be on to me and
you don't want that.
No, but it's great to be playing with her again and I think, being away from her and then back again, I've just realised how much of a determined individual she is and, I've seen her develop as a leader she's just so much fun to be around and silly as a bum full of smarties still. But no, it's great to be back together.
It was a big move though, wasn't it? Because you've moved your family, obviously relocated down here. Was it a big decision you had to make as a family to leave Townsville and take this contract in Boomers?
It was, I think for me to take the leap, it was huge. And I still felt that I could play and contribute. I think I was a little bit surprised to get a call up. I was disappointed to not play out the end of my days with Townsville, but that's the way it is. And Max was fully supportive of it. He's taken long service leave. He's doing the daddy daycare thing. He's smashing it. And it's been a good move for us.
Yeah, that's great to hear because, it is a big leap. You're in the top 10 for games played and very active. You're creeping up. I said to you earlier today, watch out Carly Wilson because the two of you are still going at it, which is great. And, you've won championships in Townsville. It was home. So, I'm sure it would have hurt a bit and, a lot of different feelings. And then, just to have the confidence to be able to make a huge move as a family. But I guess having two people you've had success with makes that move a bit easier.
Yeah, it does. And, I had the best part of a decade up in Townsville playing for the Fire and I'm extremely grateful to Shannon and the club for allowing me to come back and play after having Sidney and, enjoyed 2 good years there after that. Things changed, circumstances change and you never know what might happen.
Happy to have you here in Melbourne. Now, we're just saying as well before the show that 2 years ago you'd come back from having Sid and we were this time 2 years ago in the Hub in Townsville and you guys made the grand final. There were 4 mums playing in that season. this season there's 10. That when I heard that stat, thanks to Mark Quinn at BA, I don't know, I had heart eyes, emoji heart eyes. I just thought that was so great. What do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic. The fact that, women have the confidence to come back and play. And for me, it was just, I felt like I could still compete and I wanted to compete at the highest level in Australia. So that was my motivation. But, the fact that, the clubs support the ladies to come back, they allow partners to travel, look after the children, and allow, us to do what we do and be the best that we can be on the court.
And I guess you've seen that in a different level this year with, you talked about Kayla, your great mate and captain. She's now mum to Pearl, and you're seeing the amazing things that she's doing. She's
smashing it. I mean, when I came back, like Sid was probably 6 months, and you sort of out of that zombie land of the newborn stage, but she's right in the thick of the newborn phase, and sleep deprived, captaining our team, and Pearl is such a good baby, and that's testament to her and her parenting, and she's doing such a great job and killing it on the court at the same time.
All right, Mia, let's have a look back at the weekend that was. We'll start with Adelaide, who made it 2-0. So they've now got 3 wins in a row. They had a great win over Canberra, which was quite a close game on Wednesday night. And then they got the scalp over Southside. So Southside were without Lauren Jackson and Kayla Thornton in that game. But you played against Adelaide a few weeks ago and beat them narrowly. They're starting to really get some rewards now.
They are. I am still trying to catch my breath after the Adelaide game. That's the style that they play. They're full court, high octane offense. They push the ball really well, and obviously it's got some players that can really get on the rim. So it looks like they're sort of starting to hit their straps. I think their imports are sort of settling in. They've settled in well, adjusted to the league now, and they're tough.
Yep, absolutely. I think the imports combined had 40 or just over 40 points against Southside. It's the first time since Adelaide imports have done that since the 2019-20 semi-final series against Southside. So that's a good sign for Adelaide. Let's talk about Canberra and Sydney. They fell short across the weekend, but the good news is they play each other this week, which we'll talk about in the preview. So someone's going to be very happy come Saturday night.
There will be. There's got to be a winner. But you know what? We can't sleep on those types of teams. Like they're, a slower start to the season for them, but I know how hard both teams work at training. They've had phenomenal pre-seasons. Sydney had a really long pre-season, and they're fit and we're looking the goods. But, that they're young, and that's probably what you see in games, that sort of youth comes to light a little bit in the crunch time especially, and they're sort of not able to put that 40 minutes of basketball together yet. So, one, they'll break through. Obviously, one will break through this weekend. So that'll be a great game to watch. Well,
Bendigo remain undefeated this season after a huge weekend. They saw off Townsville by 2 points and then beat Sydney on Sunday. Annalee Maley put up 2 double-doubles for the weekend and is our Signet WNBL Player of the Week. Bendigo, it's a bit of a cliche about youth and experience, but my goodness, they've got the best of both.
They do. They're very deep. They run very deep. They've got some old heads in. Don't say old, Mia. You are old. You're one of the old ones. They've got some experienced heads in there that have won many a championship together, and that mixture of youth in there as well. That they're very tough. They're very physical. Very physical team to play against. They're looking pretty good at the moment. They'll be, they're undefeated for a reason. They've had a great preseason as well.
Contributors everywhere mentioned Annalee Player of the Week, but I really liked the weekend of Alicia Froling. And tell me this, she went from right to left hand in the NBL 1 season. She's had so many wrist injuries. She changed her shooting hand, won the NBL 1 MVP in South, had a really good impactful weekend. Can you ever imagine changing hands?
No.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Struggle enough being able to use the left hand when it's fully fit. But I do remember when Alicia was going through that tough period with her wrist injury, and the fact that she's been able to do that, work so hard, it's probably taken a couple of years for her to get used to that. It's a huge deal to change hands, especially when you're shooting the ball. So, yeah, she's doing extremely well, and, a bit of a foil for them. It's, you've got enough players to sort of worry about, and then they go to that next line of interior players. So, yeah, she's doing very well.
Well, Perth has been a happy hunting ground for Melbourne in the first month and a bit of the season. You guys were there again at the weekend and came away with a really tough win.
It was a tough win. We had to wait for a few extra minutes to start the game. We were waiting for the game before us to finish. It was a physical battle between Townsville and Bendigo. But, really great that we were able to head across, and it's a demanding road trip, and happy that we got the win. And so we've already won the series against Perth, which is great.
18 points from you, Mia, 4 of 6 from the 3. I mean, you joined good company from the 3-point line this season. Lauren Mansfield's been on fire from there too. You did very well.
Yeah, I was feeling it. That's my job in this team, is to shoot the ball. I've been putting it a little bit on the deck, trying to get that into my competitors' heads. I'll drive it if you're not careful. But, just taking the shots that are there, and they're the shots that I practice every day at training. So, my teammates find me, and I just have to finish the play.
Let's talk about Kayla, because she had a history-making weekend. She now sits second in WNBL rebounds for all time, surpassing the GOAT of this league, Susie Batkovic, and she's now 250 behind Rachel Spawn. She's moved to 7th in scoring, overtaking Lucille Bailey. I just want to talk about the top 10 all-time rebounds list. How is this for a who's who? So Rachel Spawn at number 1, Kayla at number 2, Susie at number 3, Lucille Bailey number 4, Debbie Slimman, who was an unbelievable player in the 80s and 90s, Karen Dalton at 6, Jenny Whittle 7, Abby Bishop at 8, another current player, Gabe Richards at 9, and then the GOAT, Lauren Jackson, at 10. That's a hell of a list, isn't it?
She's in good company. Kayla, I think she's in great form, and I think that's something in particular she'd be so proud of. I think she'll knock that record off. But, yeah, the fact that what she's going through at the moment as a mother and being able to put up these numbers is phenomenal. But, yeah, she's always had a good nose for the ball. I remember back in our early days with the Fire, and Chris would challenge her to get, plus 15 boards or something like that. She'd go out and get it. She's just got these go-go gadget arms, great timing, and a grunt for the ball. So, yeah, she's a great rebounder.
It's a pretty good rap from Mia Murray. It's all true. But how great to have 3 active players in the top 10 for boards.
Absolutely.
3 all playing this year. Yeah. I love that. Also loving what's coming ahead this round in round 5. It's the Mia Murray Cup. On Wednesday night, it's Melbourne and Townsville. Both teams have only lost 1 game. So you guys have only lost to the Flyers. Townsville lost their first game of the season to Bendigo last round. You're coming up against your former side for the first time. Is it going to be a bit weird?
Just different colours.
Yeah.
I'll try and treat it as just another game. It'll be strange. I've played with some of those girls for a couple of years now and got to know some of them really well, and they're my great friends. So, it'll be have a little chat to them, a little cuddle maybe before the game, and then we're both going to want to win that game. It's going to be really competitive. So, familiar with Shannon's style, so I sort of have an idea of what they might throw at us, but it's going to be a really tough game, a really big test for us. Looking forward to it. Well,
you have won a championship already this year with Shannon, with Steph Reid, Courtney Woods and Eliza Fabro, because you won the NBL 1 North title with Townsville. So how incredible that you're going for 2 championships in the space of a few months with 2 WNBL coaches, Chris and Shannon. Not WNBL titles, but you're kind of going for 2 from 2.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I like winning.
Yeah,
I like winning championships. But it was a lot of fun that NBL 1 North season. We obviously had Alana Smith, who was an absolute star in our team. And we were playing some really good basketball towards the end of that season, and had some fun.
Well, there was a great video put out by the Boomers on social media, as there always is. Like, they just do the best content. Just Michelle Tim's talking about the recent rivalry. So going back to that grand final series, which you guys ultimately won in 3, Susie Batkovic, Liz Cambage playing. That was really memorable. And then you guys Townsville beat Melbourne in the preliminary final in the hub. And then a really memorable game last year where you guys, Townsville, because you're not with them anymore, so not you guys. Townsville came from 20 down, I think, to beat Melbourne in Melbourne after winning in Bendigo the night before. So there's some great rivalry there in recent years between the teams.
Some nice little storylines there. There's always been heated games, not heated games, but it's always been competitive. And I would expect Wednesday to be nothing less.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game on ESPN, of course, but hope to see you at the State Basketball Centre for that one. Thursday night action. I'm loving this Wednesday, Thursday WNBL because it means the week starts early and goes through until Saturday, Sunday. It's just non-stop action. So Thursday night, we've got Perth hosting Southside. Both teams really in need of a win now after weekend losses. What did you think of Perth? Obviously, they didn't shoot. They had a bad shooting night from the 3, but they've started to get their groove together a bit since round 1.
Yeah, I think so. Their style, they're heavy on the 3-point shot. So if they can get that going, they're a tough team. You never know. I think Southside Flyers, down a few players at the moment. They've got to travel to Perth. So I think it'll be a close contest.
Yeah, so Southside without LJ last round had gastro, got it from the kids. You know this life. You know this childcare.
Every other week.
Right. Yeah. So LJ will hopefully be back for the trip to Perth. Kayla Thornton was the big one. Played against Sydney on Thursday, missed the game against Adelaide with a bit of a sore calf, I think it was. So look, they need her. She's a stud. They've still got plenty of depth. We welcome Monique Conti back at the weekend, which was great to see. So definitely both sides needing a win there to keep on pace as we head in to round 5. Let's move on to Saturday action now. This is the game where someone's going to be celebrating Saturday night. We've got the UC Cats, Sydney Flames, both yet to register a win this season. But they play each other and they play each other 3 times in December. So it's going to be a Merry Christmas for someone. This game is at the National Convention Centre. Who do you think is going to come out with their first W?
I'm going to go with Sidney.
Sidney?
Yes, I think, they've pushed teams for the best part of probably 3 quarters now. They just need to put 40 minutes together. I think it'll be Sidney to get this win on Saturday night. Obviously, when you haven't won yet, you're just so excited to play that next week and see if you can break through. So, Sydney for me.
They came close against Southside last Thursday night in Melbourne. Keely Frolling's been doing what she does, getting a double-double, if not close enough. I thought Tiana Mungakahi played a really good game against Southside, so they need her starting to shoot the ball a bit better. Shyla played well across the weekend and Jocelyn Willoughby, one of their imports, has had a good weekend as well. So she's starting to sort of settle in a bit. I think Sydney will probably get the win here too. And then we move on to, it's a big weekend for Southside and Townsville. Southside back from Perth to host Townsville, who hang around. It's a few days in Melbourne for them, but that's going to be a cracker game at the State Basketball Centre.
I think it will. Southside will be desperate to get Townsville back after an early loss to them up in Townsville. That's a tough one. It depends on personnel. I think Townsville Fire probably have Southside's number with their on-ball game. So I would probably say the Fire on that one.
And defensively, they did a number on the Flyers, didn't they? 3 weeks ago in Townsville, teams were both undefeated. And, you've been coached by Shannon, you know how well he prepares defensively, what you're going to get from the Fire. And that was a big game.
It was. Southside, you can't make any mistakes. They make you really pay at the other end of the floor. They love to get out and transition and go early. So, to limit them to low scores, I think that's the key against the Flyers.
And then 2 informed sides finish us off for the round with Bendigo and Adelaide playing at Mildura. How about that? Taking WNBL to regional towns. You guys are playing at Gippsland soon.
We are. We're back in January. We enjoyed a little bit of a camp there on our FIBA round, which was good. It's always good to get out to the regional areas and promote the game a little bit. But Bendigo versus Adelaide, two very different styles. You got physicality versus, free flowing and fast up and down the court. But for me, I think I'll go with the form team and it'll be Spirit.
Spirit. They are looking so good. We talked about last week ahead of the game against Townsville. They were both enjoying their best starts to season since championship years, which is always a good sign. They've just got so much depth. We touched on it earlier. Also, shout out to Abby Werung, who played her 150th game last weekend. How many games are you up to, Mia Murray?
Oh, I'm over 300 now. Well, into my 300s.
You'd be close to 350.
20. I'm not sure. It'd be close to, over 320.
Yeah. Mark Quinn, get on the phone. He loves a stat.
325.
Because we did something together on your 300th 2 years ago in the hub. I thought it was 250. Yeah. Sorry. You had to remind me it was 300.
Remember, I started in 1977.
Playing with Lauren Jackson's mum. Karen Blitzarves back there. No, you're not that old, Mia. But what about, I find it interesting, sometimes we're quick to point, the older players, Kelsey, Callie, you've probably been called a vet.
I think that's my middle name, the veteran. I'm like, there's players older than me.
How old? You're 33?
34.
34. Does it ever raise your brow when you hear people? Because I think when you say it to Kelsey Griffin, it's like a red rag at a bull. I wouldn't want to say anything that's going to upset Kelsey, but age is just a number.
Yeah,
Lauren Jackson's 41.
Yeah, I know. I mean, athletes, when you're into your 30s, you do get that tag that you are, aging, and you don't see a lot of players going well into their late 30s. So I guess that's why people say that. But no, it's you're only as old as you feel.
Well, we've got some young talent too. We've got some great older players, but we've got some.
You just said old.
No, older. Yeah. Don't misquote me, Mia. We've got some great young talent in the WNBL this season. One of those players plays for Adelaide and will be in action in Mildura this weekend. Her name is Isobel Borlase. I'm excited to talk to her. Do you want to chat to her?
I'd love to chat to her. She's a star, and I'd love to hear from her.
Well, one of the young stars of the Signet WNBL this season hails from the Adelaide Lightning. We are super excited to welcome her onto the WNBL show this week. It's a big hello to Isobel Borlase. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How is your first proper WNBL season going? We know you played one game last season, but you are doing big things this season. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my first, I feel like this is my first season now, and I'm really enjoying being back home, and Adelaide's really welcomed me with open arms.
Let's go back to round one, because you put your name up in lights against Southside with a double-double in your second ever game. It really did feel like your first WNBL game though. Can you reflect on what that felt like that night in Melbourne at the State Basketball Centre?
I didn't really have any expectations at all heading into the game. I was hoping just to get some court time. And then, I was quite happy with how it went. I mean, we didn't get the win, but I was quite happy how it went first game.
So social media is a huge thing these days. It was really just MySpace when you started, Mia. It's a different world now. But I can imagine your phone sort of blew up after that. Were you being tagged in a lot of Instagram stories?
Just a few here and there, a couple of friends. But it was good.
So Nat Hurst is your coach at Adelaide. She's a first-year coach, but she's put a lot of confidence in you to start and play your role. What's Nat been like as a coach for you?
I'm really enjoying playing under Nat this year. She's really understanding, can really just talk to her about anything, and she's instilled a lot of trust with me just coming off the bench and just letting me do what I do, and I'm really enjoying that.
Hi, Izzy. It's Mia. I am a huge Isobel Borlase fan, not only because you play for Forestville, but I'm just so impressed with the way you imposed yourself on the league at such a young age. Did you have the option to play in the WNBL, to play college, or why did you choose the WNBL? I'm really happy that you chose WNBL pathway, but did you have that option to go overseas?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely had that option. I didn't really have that many schools contact me, to be honest, but I trained over the summer with the Lightning when Chris Lucas was coaching. Really enjoyed that. And then when Nat took over, she gave me a call, and I was pretty keen to get down back home to Adelaide and play amongst like some people like Steph Talbot, like Marina Whittle and Loz Manfield.
Oh, those silly colleges, Mia.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't they be kicking themselves?
But college loss is our gain in the Signet WNBL. You are a product of the COE, and there's lots of your COE teammates playing in the league, which is awesome. Kristen Veal was your coach there, and she's now leading Canberra. Can you tell us about the impact that Vealie's had on you as a young player?
Yeah, I absolutely loved my time at the COE and under Vealie. I mean, she brought out a lot of confidence in me. I was just a shy, probably still am a bit shy, but shy young girl when I got there. And then the likes of Jade Melbourne, Shanice Swain, and then Nadia and Dallas are like one of my two of my best friends now, who I'm getting to share all these experiences with.
What's it been like playing against some of those girls in the WNBL, Nadia and Jade, just this round gone?
Yeah, it's great to see them. I hadn't seen Jade in a little while, and then Nards, I've seen her a few times now, and I think it's just really exciting that particularly Nards and I get to do this together, and then Dallas, who will be back next year, but getting to share these experiences with them.
So you mentioned being back home in Adelaide, and a bit like Mia, your family is sporting royalty in South Australia because your dad, Daryl, was a premiership player with the Port Adelaide Magpies, and of course your mum, Jenny, represented Australia in netball. Did you have a choice about playing sport as a little kid growing up?
Look, I think I've got two older siblings, and I kind of just followed them around, and then I guess mum and dad, we just have balls hanging around the house, and that's kind of just how I got into it, particularly my older brother and then my sister as well, just all got out in the backyard, and I guess that's how it all started.
Well, Mia, you've got a brother as well who plays basketball, Brad, as we know, and we know the Froling twins are pretty competitive. Mia, what were your backyard memories like going face-to-face with Brad?
Yeah, generally ended up in a brawl. But no, yeah, we were, I'm 3.5 years old, younger than Brad. So physically, like it took a little bit more to compete with him. But no, it was always competitive, and we're always playing some sort of sport. And I think that's great. When you're choosing a sport, to try a bit of everything, and even if it's table tennis and having a brawl over a table tennis table, which happened on many occasions.
Sound familiar, Izzy?
Yeah, 100%. That's probably where our main brawls actually happen, on the table tennis table.
Table tennis. It brings the inner demon out in you. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we should have a table tennis tournament. Brad and Mia, Izzy and her siblings, and the Frolings. Can you imagine that round robin?
We wouldn't have a table. The Frolings would end up through the table, I reckon.
You mentioned some of the girls that you're playing with at Adelaide. What's it like playing with someone and being captained by Steph Talbot? Obviously had an amazing tournament at the FIBA Women's World Cup, runner-up in the Susie Batkovic medal last year and won it the season before. What's Steph like? Give us a bit of an insight.
Yeah, I absolutely love training against Steph and then being on a team when we play. But I think off the court, she's just a really chilled out, cool girl. And yeah, I've loved getting to know her and just like learning off her and just being a sponge, I suppose. Like having her defend me at trainings is probably really frustrating at times, but I think I'm probably learning a lot as well.
Before you played in the WNBL, was there a player in the league that you looked up to, or did you have a favourite player?
I went to the World Cup early in the year, and I think all the opals just really inspired me. I loved watching Christy Wallace's defense. I thought that was great. And then obviously Steph, and now I get to play with her. But just everyone, like Sammy shooting. But now the fact that I get to play against them, I'm just like, before games, just fangirling. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm playing against them now.
Oh, I love that so much. Well, there's plenty of young girls fangirling you now, Izzy, because you're the up-and-comer in this league, and I'm sure you've got aspirations to also play for the Opals. We know you've represented Australia in underage competition.
Yeah, for sure. I think having the World Cup here really inspired me and lots of other girls, I'm sure. And then, I was in India earlier in the year and played in the under-18 Asia, and that was a really good experience, and hoping to do the same next year with the World Cup under-19s next year too.
Well, we know you will be there, that's for sure. We're loving your work in the WNBL this season. Izzy, thank you so much for joining us on the WNBL show, and we wish you all the best for the remainder of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, the dulcet tones of the WNBL show have put your son to sleep, Mia. Come back any
for a little while.
Come back any time. But I think it's great to have him here because this is the reality for female athletes. And I did a story for ESPN last week about the players in our league that are working all sorts of jobs because it's what you've got to do to make ends meet. Cassidy McLean at Bendigo is playing WNBL, working as a receptionist at a physio, studying physio and running a small business. Mm-hmm. This is not an unfamiliar tale to you over your time in the league.
No, and I think back to my early days when you sort of, you're at uni and then you got to drive however far to get to training, and then you probably got to go pour beers or something at a football club somewhere to sort of pay your own way and make up that financial drop that you've had. But yeah, I think things are getting better. They're nowhere near where they should be, but there's a lot asked of you as a female athlete or as an athlete. So yeah, Sid's asleep on my lap at the moment, and that's all well and good. I can't be tired. I've got to carry him home.
What was it like last season particularly? Because of course in the hub season when he was a baby, it was in Townsville. So you weren't doing all the trips, but last year at Townsville you were. So what was it like having him on the road?
It's full on. I don't know if you know, my husband was the team physio as well. So, we had to make sure that Sid was looked after when we were on the road. But it's full on. You got to, just packing your shoes and your mouth guard. You got to pack his whole bag as well. Make sure he's looked after before you even think about the game. So, it's full on. So shout out to all the mums out there balancing that.
I just love that we've got 10. It's just amazing. And obviously, Kayla, your teammate, a new mum this season. We've got 3 at the Flyers. I think Sidney is the only team without a mum, although not really because Kalani Purcell's having a bubba, so she's not playing for the rest of the season. But it's wonderful to see. So good to see you, Mia. Loving having you in Melbourne. It's a big
enjoying it.
Big change, especially with the weather.
Yes, big change. Everyone said I would freeze, but I'm very lucky to have had a sunny winter in Townsville.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I'm enjoying the being able to wear tracky dacks and all that sort of. That's how you say it, tracky dacks. Tracky dacks and not thongs, shoes.
And what has it been like moving to Melbourne, where Brad, of course, your brother, we talked about it earlier with the table tennis rivalry. Brad obviously playing at United, Bridge, his wife and family here, because your parents, have spent most of their lives having to work out where you guys are playing and all that kind of stuff. What's it like for the whole family having you both playing professionally in the same city?
It's really good feeling, actually. Probably another reason why I decided to come, to have that family support network there. A little bit closer to Adelaide for mum and dad to get to. We have some family pizza nights. Brad will say, come around for dinner. We haven't lived in the same state for we were trying to count the other day, like probably over 20 years. So, and it's just Brad and I. So to be able to reconnect with your sibling and have a bit of QT, it's really nice.
I remember you guys played against Canberra in Canberra earlier this year, and Bridge was there with the kids, and I think because of COVID and everything, like you hadn't seen them for so long. So what's it been like? Brad's obviously been to a few of your games, you go to his. Is that nice just to be able to go and watch each other live?
It is, and particularly we're heading to the end of our careers, I'd say. So the games are starting to slow up for us. So, you don't know when it's the end for either one of us, and it's nice to be there to support each other in the flesh.
Well, Melbourne United and Melbourne Boomers are the winners for having the Newley siblings in town playing this year. Mia, thanks so much for coming in. Just sort of hushed tones now because Sidney is asleep. Isn't that amazing? He's gone to sleep to the sound of this podcast.
Yeah.
We can help you with anything. We can entertain you. We can be, what is that, AMSR or something? It's like, I am
White
making
noise?
this. Yeah, like you know how people like to listen to. Yeah. Anyway, we're here for all your needs. Find us on all the great podcast platforms.
I'll be happy at 10 p.m. tonight when I'm trying to put him to sleep. He doesn't sleep during the day anymore, Megan.
Oh no, we've given him a day nap.
Yeah, give him a day nap.
I may never see you again, Mia. Good luck on Wednesday against Townsville.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mia.